Hi, how you doing? This is Lerone Kuntz. Today I'm in Atlanta, Georgia, in Fulton County, Atlanta, Georgia, and I just wanted to give you an update on what's happened in the Fani Willis case. Fani Willis is the Fulton County District Attorney who is prosecuting Trump and 18 others on an election interference RICO case here in Georgia. And I know you've been hearing that there's a lot going on down here. One of the things I'm going to focus on today is the hearing that they had last week. Now, the defense, Trump's lawyers and the other lawyers that are defending the people that are charged in the RICO case, presented a motion to the judge that's overseeing this whole case, and they're saying that they want Fani Willis dismissed from the case because she is in a relationship with the special prosecutor. Now, the special prosecutor is supposed to be independent, and she's not supposed to be having a relationship with him. So that's the first thing they're saying. They're saying, on that count, they're saying that if there's a relationship, or if there was a relationship, she should have let the court know. She should have told the judge, she should have told the defense, and told everyone that she's in this relationship with the prosecutor that she hired. That's the first thing. The other thing they're saying is that she's financially benefiting from this case because she hired this special prosecutor, which was her boyfriend, and she's paid him upwards of $650,000, and he has been taking her on lavish trips to California, took her on several cruises, 2 cruises, took her to Belize. They've had dinners and things like that. So she's getting benefits, financial and gifts, because she's prosecuting this case, and they're saying that that is corruption. And they're saying that's one of the motivations for her to even bring this case, is because she is financially benefiting from that. That's the second point they're making. The third point they're making is that she has allowed herself to be interviewed for a book that was written about her. And in the book, she talks about this whole grand jury process, the special grand jury that indicted these 18 people plus Trump. And she's going into details that are supposed to be secret. So she's talking about stuff, and she's giving interviews about stuff that are supposed to remain secret. One of the examples is in the book, they have a biography or interview with the foreman of the special grand jury, and no one's supposed to know who this person is, and this is supposed to be all secret. So they're saying that there's things in this book that she consented to. It seems like she had these people following her around while she's doing this grand jury indictment case. So that's the third thing. The fourth thing they're saying is that she racialized this whole case. On Martin Luther King Day in January, she went to her church in Georgia, and she gave this speech. You know, she was under pressure because people were asking her about, you know, this relationship. Was she in a relationship with the special prosecutor that she hired? And instead of just giving a normal press conference and addressing it, she chose to go to her church on Martin Luther King Day, and she pretty much made the argument that because she's a black woman and because the person that she hired is a black man, that is the reason why they are investigating her. They want to know about her, and they're attacking her because she's black. She didn't mention the fact that the people are inquiring about the relationship between you and him, and they're not inquiring about whether or not you are black, or the issue isn't whether you and him are black. The issue is that you're in a relationship with the person that you hired to be the independent prosecutor. That's the issue, but she didn't address that. She just made everything sound racial and saying that she's a black woman and they don't think that a black woman has good judgment, and she, you know, she hired a black man who was competent, and that's what they have a problem with. So they're saying that that poisons the jury pool because they haven't had a jury selected yet for this RICO case. So they're saying that being that she went on national television and made this a racial issue, and in a county like Fulton County where, you know, you have a large population of black people and they will probably be the bulk of the jury, it kind of poisons the jury pool because people will be coming to jury duty thinking they're fighting against racism and they have to support this black woman and this black man, and the facts will get lost in all of that. So they're saying that for those 4 reasons, they should dismiss this case, or at least take Fani Willis off this case. So, you know, I just want to say, for all intents and purposes, if they take Fani Willis off of this case, if the judge says that Fulton County cannot prosecute this case, it's, for all intents and purposes, is sort of like a dismissal, because I don't think there's any other county in Georgia that will pick up this case and prosecute this case, you know, and so that's what's at stake here. The judge can just disqualify her from the case. He can disqualify the DA's office here in Fulton County from the case, or he could just dismiss the case outright. So that's what they're asking, for him just to dismiss the case. So the first person they bring, when they have the hearing, the judge saw the motion, and in the motion they have the receipts. I mean, literally, they have the receipts from the trips, they have the receipts from Wade's pay and everything. So the judge saw the motion and said, you know what, there's enough here for us to have a hearing. So last Thursday and Friday they had a hearing, and one of the first witnesses they brought up is this lady named Robin Yurdy. Now, she's a friend of Fani Willis. She's been her friend since 1991. And the reason why they brought her up is because Fani Willis is saying that she's admitting that she has a personal romantic relationship with Wade, but she's saying that there's nothing to see here. You know, we just hooked up, or we just became romantically involved after I gave him the contract to prosecute this RICO case. She's saying that she gave him the contract on November 1st of 2021, and they started their relationship in March of 2022. Well, the defense, the first witness that the defense brought up was Fani Willis's friend. Her name is Robin Yurdy, and she's known, like I said, she's known her since 1991, and she says, her testimony is that Wade and Fani Willis have been a couple since 2020. Way before she even became DA, they were involved in a relationship, and she's going under oath and she's testifying on Zoom. She's a reluctant witness. It doesn't seem like she really wants to do it, but I guess she feels like she needs to tell the truth.
Reporter, hear me okay? Ma'am, let me be very specific. Did you talk with Miss Willis about her romantic relationship with Mr. Wade?
Yes.
Did Miss Willis tell you on more than one occasion that she was engaged in a romantic relationship with Mr. Wade prior to you leaving the district attorney's office?
Did she tell me or did I observe?
I'm straight right now with the tell me.
Yes.
Did she tell you that in the year of 2020?
Yes.
In the year of 2021?
Yes.
Are you certain that Miss Willis told you about the romantic relationship with Mr. Wade prior to November 1st of 2021?
Yes.
Now, did you also have observations of Mr. Wade and Miss Willis together prior to November 1st of 2021?
Yes.
And are those observations, were those in a social setting?
Yes.
And did you observe them do things that are It's common among people having a romantic relationship,
Yes.
such as, can you give us an example?
Hugging, kissing, just
Oh.
affection.
All before November 1st of 2021, correct?
Yes.
That's all I have.
Okay, so that predates Fani becoming DA or being sworn in as DA, and it predates this 2022 date that they're saying that they start the relationship, and it predates the contract between Fani Willis and Wade to prosecute Trump. So what the defense is saying is that she set this whole thing up. She hired her boyfriend, and she's funneling hundreds of thousands of dollars to him through this case, and she's getting taken care of on the back end with trips and dinners and plane rides and things like that. They're saying that's corruption. And one of the things that a DA is supposed to do is to avoid, and any attorney is to avoid even the appearance of corruption. And they're saying that we have real corruption here. So they bring the witness, she testifies, and then they bring Wade in. Okay, now Wade is the special prosecutor, and I'm just going to jump to the things that I think are important in his testimony. I think they impeach his character, or they show him to be not truthful by showing a document that he submitted during his divorce. You know, he was in the process of having a divorce since 2021. I think he just litigated his divorce a few weeks ago, but from 2021 to like the present, he's been going through a divorce. So in 2023, he submitted a document to the court in this divorce case saying that, and the questions were like very explicit to me. I've never been through a divorce, but maybe they asked these questions. They're asking him, has he been in a romantic relationship or sexual relationship with anyone from when his marriage began until the present? And to the present for him is when he's filling out the document in, I think, May of 2023. They're asking him, have you been in a personal romantic relationship with anyone from the beginning of your marriage back in, I don't know how long, they were married 24 years, until the present? He's saying, no, I have not been in any type of relationship with anyone during this whole time. And then there's another question that says, did you ever entertain anyone, you know, by taking them to dinner, taking them to a hotel, taking them to a vacation, lunch, or anything like that? Have you entertained anyone? And he's saying no to that as well. But then, in response to this motion from the Trump team, he is admitting that he had a relationship with Fani Willis starting in March 2022. So that contradicts the sworn testimony that he submitted to the divorce court. And they're questioning him about this, and they pretty much are trying to get him to admit that he's lying.
We need a yes or no. Let's just get down to it. Did you or did you not, by May the 30th, 2023, have had sexual relations with Miss Willis, yes or no? Yes or no?
Yes.
Okay. Now, what you did is you answered no to that question, didn't you, or none, correct?
I didn't answer no to the question you just asked. I answered no to the interrogatory question.
And the interrogatory stands that you answered as a pleading in a civil proceeding, your divorce case, right?
Yes.
Now, excuse me. The next interrogatory, let's move there. That interrogatory states as follows: identify any and all occasions in which you entertain a member of the opposite sex other than your spouse who is not related to you by blood or marriage. You see that? Now, there are two parts to this. The second part is, I read on, or in which a member of the opposite sex other than your spouse, not related to you by blood or marriage, entertained you. And then it goes on to say, including but not limited to dining, drinking in restaurants, bars, pubs, hotels. You see that, correct?
I do.
Now, as of May the 30th, 2023, when you filed this interrogatory, you had in fact entertained Ms. Willis on many occasions, had you not?
Again, during the course of the marriage was irretrievably broken in 2015.
Well, then let's-
The answer's still no.
Let's read what the interrogatory says about the time period required to answer the interrogatory. Because what it says is, it goes on to say, including but not limited to dining and or drinking at any restaurants, bars, pubs, hotels, or persons' homes from the date of marriage to the present. You understand what the word present means?
I do.
And present means the filing on May the 30th, 2023. Isn't that right?
It is.
So as of May the 30th, 2023, you had done a lot of entertaining of Miss Willis, had you not?
I had done some, yes.
And in fact, under your testimony, you would have said that she had also entertained you. Isn't that correct?
Yes.
And so your answer to this interrogatory is false, is it not, sir?
No, it's not false.
Well, hate to dance around the. The answer is yes, you did entertain Miss Willis, correct? Right?
Yes.
She's not your spouse at that time or any time, correct?
That's correct.
She's not related to you by blood or marriage, correct?
That's correct.
But you entertained her, right?
Yes.
And during the course from your marriage, the period of time up to the present, so the answer would have been, yes, I did entertain somebody, correct?
During the course of the marriage, no.
Mr. Wade.
Mr. Gillen, I think we've made our point. I think it speaks for itself, and we can save that for argument.
And then I'll just follow up with one quick question.
So he's already caught up. He doesn't want to admit it. You know, he looks sad. He looks sad sitting there, and he knows that he's wrong, but he doesn't want to admit it. He's going to he's acting like he doesn't understand what they're asking him. And that might make sense to have a layperson up there and you're asking him these questions and he's not really clear on the law and what he's signed and what he's saying. But if you have this attorney who's a special prosecutor that's being paid upwards of $650,000 to prosecute this huge RICO case, and Fani Willis is saying how competent this person is, there's no way that you can tell me that you don't know that you're signing a legal document and you're sworn, a sworn document that this is truthful, and then you're coming into court and you're contradicting that, and you can't tell me that you don't understand that. And he was also a judge prior to him taking on this RICO case. So right there, his credibility is shot, and the judge is listening to this, and he's going to make a determination whether or not to disqualify him or just Fani Willis or both of them. He's got a decision to make. So he's sitting there and he's listening to this. There's no jury, so he's taking it all in. Okay, so he's already, showing signs of fraud in my opinion. And then they ask him about the trips. They say, well, we have all these documents that prove that you have taken Fani to Napa Valley, you've bought plane tickets, you've been on 2 cruises, you've been to Belize and all these other places, the dinners and stuff with Fani Willis. And so you are giving her gifts and you're doing things for her, you're paying for her trips and things like that. And he says, no, I'm not paying for her trips. I just use my credit card and she's paid me back everything that I've charged for her. And they're saying, well, do you have any receipts from that? He says, no, she paid me in cash. So he's literally saying that he has bought all of these tickets, all of these dinners, all of these plane rides for her, and she has given him thousands and thousands of dollars in cash in return. And, we're in a day and age, this is 2024, where everybody pretty much uses cash apps. People, they use credit cards, they use checks and things like that to pay people. They always, most likely keep a record when you're paying someone thousands and thousands of dollars. But he's saying that he doesn't have any records, that she just paid him in cash. But the defense is also bringing his taxes into question. They're saying, okay, in your taxes, you use your business credit card to book all of these trips and do all of these things with Fani Willis. And in your taxes, you're saying that these are expenses that you paid for. But now you're here in court telling us that you only pay for half of these things. But it's not reflected in your taxes. You're saying that in your taxes that these are your expenses, and you're not saying that half of this amount is the expense. You're saying the full amount is the expense. So why isn't it reflected on your taxes that you've only paid for half of these things? And he says, well, I don't do my taxes. I give all the statements and all the information to my accountant, and he does the taxes. So to me, that's disingenuous also, because as the defense said, and as you all know, you are responsible for your taxes no matter who does it. You review it, you sign it. And so you can't say it was my accountant, especially if you're a judge, as he is, and an attorney. You can't get up there like a lay person and say that you don't know what's happening, and you're prosecuting this big, huge RICO case against a former president, and you're trying to make the court believe that you're just so naive, you don't know that you're supposed to file your taxes and make note of the fact that half of these thousands and thousands of dollars that you're spending, you have been already reimbursed for. So for that reason, I think his character and his integrity has been impeached during this hearing. And so they move on from him, and then Fani Willis comes in. Well, prior to Fani Willis, they bring in this lawyer named Terrence Bradley. Now, Terrence Bradley is a former partner, a law partner of Nathan Wade, and he has communicated with the defense, with Trump's people, and he has said also that he has personal knowledge that Wade and Fani Willis have been in a relationship since 2019. The facts pretty much come out that Wade and Fani Willis were in a relationship prior to her being even sworn in as DA and prior to her signing the contract. So I think there's enough evidence to prove that what they're saying in terms of them starting their relationship in 2022, there's enough evidence to say that that's false. So Fani Willis comes up, and she has a head of steam. She just marches up to the stand, and she is very aggressive, and she pretty much takes over the proceedings. They're asking her questions and she's not answering the questions. She's talking about whatever she wants to talk about. She doesn't, she's elaborating on things that they didn't even, ask her to elaborate on. She's just trying to control the proceeding. And, when I was a correction officer and when I was working, I was a union delegate, and, I've learned that if you're right and if you have all of your I's dotted and your T's crossed, then you can come in strong, right? You can come in strong and you can say, hey, I'm right. I have the documentation to prove it. Everything I've done is above board. And I'm willing to answer all questions because I know I'm right. But if you're not right, and if there's a question as to whether or not you have done what it is that you're supposed to do, then you can't come in strong. We used to have a thing, in correction that says you can't be wrong and strong. When you're wrong, you got to come in humble. You got to say, hey, my approach, I did want to, do this, but somewhere along the line, maybe I neglected to do that. You don't want to come in boisterous and aggressive if you're not totally right. And I think that she came in boisterous and very aggressive and very combative, and she wasn't right. Okay, because she's saying that she paid Wade in cash for all of these trips. And when the prosecutor's asking her, not the prosecutor, but the defense, Trump's lawyers are asking her, like, okay, you paid him in cash. Do you have any receipts? Do you have an ATM receipt? Do you have a bank withdrawal receipt? You have anything to show us that you paid him in cash? And she's like, no, I don't have anything. I paid him in cash. And one person's testimony, my testimony, should be enough to prove that fact that he's been paid in cash. Where we know that in this day and age, now I'm not talking 40 years ago, but in this day and age, people rarely use cash, especially when they're paying for something and they're paying someone back. Me personally, I'm going to be reluctant to pay you in cash if I think that there might be some discrepancy. Either I'm going to pay you in cash or I'm going to have some sort of text or something to indicate that, yeah, we both agree that this is the amount that I owe you. And for her own personal protection, now she's the DA, and she is dating the prosecutor in this case. And at some point, this thing might be discovered, and somebody might call into question what, is transpiring in their relationship. She should want to have the receipts just for her own personal protection, so she could say, yeah, we're dating, he's taking me these places, but here are the receipts from when I paid him back every dime he's charged for me for these trips. For her own personal protection and her own personal peace of mind, she should have receipts for the money that she paid. And how about if they break up and he wants to try to hurt her career and say, yeah, I lavished her in all these gifts. I took her around the world. I took her on cruises and she kicked me to the curb, and what she did was wrong. She can always say, I got the receipts. You didn't pay for me to do anything. You just charged it on your card and I reimbursed you. She doesn't have any of that. Okay, and furthermore, there is a document that officials here in Georgia have to fill out every year. And the form is to indicate whether you've received any gifts from anybody during that year. And they have the forms in evidence as one of the exhibits, the form that Fani Willis filled out in 2022 and 2023, saying that she has not received any gifts from anyone. Now, this form says you have to report anything or any gift that you receive from anybody that is over $100. Now, she has thousands and thousands of dollars worth of gifts, trips and meals, dinners and everything, hotel stays from Wade, yet she did not indicate anything on this legal document that she has to submit, saying whether she received gifts, right? Now, they're not saying that you can't receive gifts. They're saying that when you receive gifts over $100, you have to enter it on this form and let the county and the state know. She didn't do that. And when they ask her about that, she kind of acts like, oh, I didn't do that. It was like an oversight or something. Well, that might work for me and you if we go in there and somebody says this to us and we didn't know that this form existed. But you're the Fulton County DA. This is the largest district attorney's office in the state of Georgia. The budget is like $36 million. You know that you have to fill out these forms. Matter of fact, her office may be the office in charge of prosecuting people who don't fill out this form. And you're the sitting DA, and you're trying to tell the court that you didn't know that you were supposed to fill out that form for these thousands and thousands of dollars that you got from Wade and these thousands and thousands of dollars that you paid him back, which you have no receipt for. You didn't want to let anyone know that. So basically, what the defense is saying is that she was in a relationship with Wade prior to her signing the contract with him in November of 2021. They're saying that she kept it secret. She didn't let anybody know. She didn't even let the people in her office know. She didn't make any announcements. She didn't make any statement about it. She didn't tell the court. She didn't tell the judge. She didn't tell anybody about this relationship. She hid it, and she was benefiting from it. She was making money off of this case. On the back end, she was getting trips and stuff like that. She didn't report it. Wade didn't report it in his taxes. She didn't report it on her ledger or her documentation that she's supposed to submit as a public official, that this was all a secret arrangement between him and her just to make money, and she's benefited from it, and it's all just a concocted case in the first place. She also wrote a book about it, and they also are saying that a DA is not supposed to publicize or go out of their way to publicize a case that has not assembled a jury yet. And they said that 38 times she's been on television talking about this case. And so she's poisoned the jury pool. They're also saying, like I said, that she gave this big elaborate speech on Martin Luther King Day in January, making the case racial. So they're saying that in light of all of this evidence that they're presenting, and all the receipts, literal receipts that they've been showing, that Fani Willis and the Fulton County DA's office should be disqualified from prosecuting this case. And as I said before, if Fulton County doesn't prosecute this case probably will not be prosecuted, and it surely will not be prosecuted during this election cycle, which was probably the motivation for them, which I'm almost positive that was the motivation for them bringing the case at the time that they're bringing it, is to prevent Trump from being on the campaign trail. They wanted to tie him up on court. So if she's dismissed and the Fulton County DA's office can't prosecute this case and they turn it over to someone else, for all intents and purposes, that's going to result in what is a dismissal. I'm just going to keep it real. Now, in terms of Fani Willis, like I said in my last video, people here in Georgia will leave you in your elected position indefinitely, because people here are very trusting and very loyal, very humble people, very religious people. You know, this is a great place to live. I gotta tell you that. But the one thing people here don't tolerate is corruption. They are opposed to officials that tamper with their money. And so for that reason, I think that Fani Willis may have trouble being reelected. Now, her election is in November, right? She was appointed in 2020. She took office in 2021, and her term is up, and she has to run for election now. Now, the person that she ran against, he was accused of stealing money. Paul Howard. He was accused of stealing money, and she used that against him. She went all out, and he was also accused of sexual harassment, and she went all out on that against him, saying, you know, I would never sleep with anybody that I work with. And now it seems like the very things that she went after Paul Howard about, she herself is embroiled in, but only worse. You know, they have receipts. She's admitting that she's in a relationship with someone that she hired. You know, so it doesn't look good. So for Fani Willis, her career as the DA or as an elected official in Georgia is probably over, I would think. You know, if there's a strong candidate that runs against her and they have plenty of ammo to go against her, she's very vulnerable right now, they can win the election if somebody is willing to step up and take that position. The only thing that I think Fani Willis can hope for is that, first of all, she can hope that this judge just says, there's nothing to see here, you know, all this is circumstantial, I don't see any problem with her prosecuting this case, and let the case go forward, which may be the case, I don't know, because this judge, he works in Fulton County, you know, he's a judge here, he's a lawyer here, and, you know, he's up for election too. I don't know whether it's this cycle or not, but I think he's, you know, elected, or he may be appointed, but I think he's elected, but he's, you know, politically connected himself, and he may be in the tank for the Democrats or for Fani Willis and not want to, you know, expose himself to being thrown out of office. So he might say, you know what, I'm not going to deal with this, just half the case, prosecute Trump. He might just do that, or he might be a man of integrity and look at the evidence and judge accordingly. We have to wait and see. He says that he's going to issue his ruling, I think, tomorrow, Friday, or if not Friday, next week. So we're going to hear soon about what he's going to determine. But like I said, let me get back to Fani Willis for a minute. If she, which I think she's going to lose the DA's position if someone strong runs against her. But if that's the case, she can only hope for Biden winning the election. Now, if Biden wins the election, he might bring her into his administration. He might look at this whole situation and say, yeah, she got into a lot of trouble. Her name is mud in Georgia right now. She lost her position as Fulton County DA, but she did it all for me. And I won the election because she kept this controversy going, and I was able to defeat Trump. So I'm going to pull her into my administration. I'm going to bring her down here to Washington, and she's going to be straight. That might be the only play she has left. If Biden loses, and she loses her position, and she's under this cloud of scandal, I don't know what the future holds for her. I don't think any public office is in her future. So with that, you know, when I get the verdict from this judge, I'm probably going to come back and kick with y'all. But, you know, it's getting kind of sunny out here. And I want to thank y'all for hanging out with me and checking me out. And until next time, as always, peace and stay safe.